A good evening, Internet. So, I just got done watching Keemstar's interview with Family of Five, Michael and Heather, the evil stepmother, which I'm going to call her that because from what I've seen in the video, she is a very interesting woman, to say the least. But from the interview, I see that they both do care about the kids. The interview is not complete bullshit, but I definitely smell some shit in there somewhere. And it's just sitting here like, I don't know how much of their word I can take. But one thing that I am happy about is this moment right here. I am ecstatic to hear that they are willing to have some sort of counselor or child psychologist, or I would rather have a child psychologist more than just a counselor, in there for about a month. I'd say a little bit longer than that, but the fact that they would be willing to do it at least a month, I am ecstatic about. Because I want more in-depth. And the funny thing too is they're like, oh, we edit it so it looks like this. I'm like, why would you edit something to make it look like you're abusive to your children? Why would you edit it to where you look like absolute assholes? Most vloggers, most YouTubers, edit the happy moments and edit the shit moments out. You're like the exact opposite here. Why? And is it to get the shock value views? Is it to get because you want to be those, oh, we're a prank channel, check out these pranks, and you make sure all the stuff that you edit, make sure you have Cody crying, you make sure you look like you're an abusive parent, you make it look like there's reason to have all this shit on after you. Why edit the videos to make yourselves look like absolute assholes? And this is another thing where I don't know the truth of it, because from my understanding, Cody's about 10. And that's not necessarily very young, but he's still kind of still a young kid. And some really small kids are known to wander off because of curiosity, or some, especially if they're autistic or whatnot. That's not an insult to anybody, but it's just something that tends to happen. Is like when someone has something wrong with, not necessarily wrong with them, or they're curious or something, they tend to wander off on their own and whatnot. Like, I was one of those kids when I was little. I would wander off in the grocery store all the time. I would wander off at Elitch Gardens, the local amusement park in Denver, all the time, and I've scared the living shit out of my mom a few times because of that. Because there was one time in either Lowe's or Home Depot when I was hiding in the middle of, like, you know those display racks? I was hiding in one of those display racks of, I don't remember exactly what it was, and I was scared shitless because I couldn't find my mother. And so I think they're kind of, that's part, if I can understand why they wouldn't want to take all the kids to Disneyland, especially if one of them was wander off, because 5 kids is a lot of kids to take care of. So that I can understand, and especially if you get spoiled by their Nana and Papa, then alright, that I can understand a little bit. But I'm still confused with the editing, on why you choose to edit it to make yourselves look like assholes. Why you choose to make it look like you abuse your kids. Why do you choose to make it look like it looks? Edit your videos differently to make yourselves not look like assholes if there is all this stuff. Because from what I've seen from your channel, it's mostly prank videos on your children. And some of these are emotionally scarring, especially when you're yelling like they're in trouble. And I see a little bit more emotion from the dad when he talks than from the stepmother. And that is something I find very interesting. Because you can tell, to some degree, they both love their kids. But I can see a lot more emotion when the dad talks about his kids. Both in the video clips that I have seen and in the interview from Keemstar that I'm talking about right now. I see a lot more emotion in him. This is one thing I'm really curious about, more so on Keemstar. Keemstar, why are you asking these questions to where you're not asking unbiased questions. You're asking questions that definitely make the parents look better. You're not asking you're asking some of the right questions, but at the same time, you are more so, you're not asking the questions of what got you started or what caused all this. You're not to me, it doesn't seem like you're asking the questions from an unbiased source trying to mitigate it to understand it more. You're more so asking the questions that will make them look better, not understand why they're doing what they are doing on their channel. You're not making them making them look worse, and I don't think that was the point of this interview whatsoever. But the thing is, you're only asking the questions that, God, I've repeated myself like 5 times, but this is an important thing for me. You're only asking the questions that ensure the fact that they look better. You're not, like I said, you're not asking, okay, why do you prank the kids how you prank them? Why don't you do more light-hearted pranks? Why do you have to be yelling at the top of your lungs when you're pranking them? Why don't, like I said, do something more light-hearted? If you do more light-hearted shit, this whole outbreak of your channel would not have happened. People prank their kids all the time. People prank their parents all the time. People prank each other all the time. But it's typically more light-hearted, and it's more obvious that it's a prank. Some of these are not obvious whatsoever. Like, the main one that got this blown up is the ink prank on the carpet. That's where Cody is absolutely freaking out and looks like he's going to have a panic attack. That is not what a prank should do to anybody. When you do a prank, you don't do that. You don't emotionally scar somebody. You do something, they're like, what the fuck? And then they laugh about it because they realize that, oh, it's fake. It's not actual there. But the way you were yelling at him and the way you both were yelling at him, especially the evil stepmother here, is that you scared him shitless where you could see him crying. You could see him. And you could tell that he doesn't like the pranks you do on him. You buy him out with a PS4. You buy him out with Disneyland. You buy him out with whatever else you guys give him. So he's like, oh, okay, if I go along with these pranks, I get nice shit. You are buying him. That is what you are doing. You are buying his consent. You're not letting him consent on his own to these pranks. You are not letting him... And what I see is, like, the other kids don't get pranked nearly as much as Cody, from anything I've seen. So, even out the pranks, at worst, I guess. I don't know. Even out the pranks. Especially, make them more lighthearted. This interview wasn't complete bullshit, but like I said, there's some bullshit smelling under there. Joey Sparkles is doing, or not Joey, Joy Sparkles is doing a analysis of this too. She's probably going to do it a hell of a lot better than I am. So click right there to see it. Click there to see my video. Click there to see Philip DeFranco's video. And click there for something that might be a little more lighthearted. And on my channel. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye!